India, a land known for its vibrant culture and ancient wisdom, unfortunately also bears deep wounds of corruption. It's an issue that's shaking the very foundation of our civilization. This evil has spread to every level of our society, from the highest positions of power to the everyday lives of ordinary people. It exists everywhere, in every corner, like an invisible enemy. Like a parasitic vine, corruption strangles progress, hinders economic growth, and destroys public trust. It's a disease that slowly hollows out society from within. This essay delves deep into the issue of corruption in India, examining its impact on daily life and the nation's economy. It's crucial to understand how this problem is shaping our future. From small bribes to multi-million-dollar scams that shake the nation, corruption has become a disease, breeding apathy and distrust among people. It's a trap that makes people forget their morals and honesty. The dangerous thing about corruption is that it erodes the very foundation of society. It weakens our infrastructure and slows down the pace of development. It weakens the rule of law, creates inequality, and fosters a culture that protects criminals. When justice is compromised, chaos prevails in society. When those in power act out of self-interest, forgetting the well-being of the people they are meant to serve, it creates a sense of despair and distrust. It's a cycle that pushes society backward. The fight against corruption is not just about maintaining ethical standards. It's essential for India's progress and development. It's a battle that every citizen must fight. By understanding its root causes, consequences, and potential solutions, we can strive to create a more just and equitable society for all. It's a long and arduous journey, but if we work together, we can eradicate this problem from its roots. For an average Indian, corruption is not some abstract concept that only appears in news headlines. It's a harsh reality they face every day. It's a problem deeply rooted in their daily lives. From obtaining a driver's license to accessing healthcare or even securing school admissions, bribes and under-the-table dealings have become almost commonplace. It's a practice people have reluctantly accepted because they see no other option. This culture of petty corruption places an undue burden on ordinary citizens, especially the poor and marginalized. It not only affects them financially, but also takes a toll on their self-esteem and mental well-being. Imagine a farmer who needs a loan for irrigating his land. He's already grappling with unpredictable weather and crop uncertainties. Instead of receiving timely assistance, he faces demands for bribes from corrupt officials. This situation leaves him feeling even more helpless and frustrated. The consequences of this exploitation can be devastating, pushing the farmer into debt and jeopardizing his livelihood. His entire family's life is affected, trapping them in a vicious cycle of poverty. Similarly, accessing basic healthcare often involves navigating the web of corruption, with hospital staff demanding bribes for essential services. This situation becomes even more dire for those who are already ill and vulnerable. The worst part about petty corruption is that it normalizes unethical behavior, perpetuating a vicious cycle of bribery and extortion. It erodes the moral fabric of society. When citizens are forced to pay bribes to access their basic rights and services, it erodes their trust in the system and creates a climate of apathy. This situation is detrimental to society as it hinders growth and progress. Corruption is like a silent killer for economic growth, undermining investment, hindering development, and exacerbating inequality. When corrupt officials pocket public funds meant for infrastructure projects, schools, or hospitals, it deprives the nation of essential resources and stalls progress. Foreign investors are often hesitant to invest in countries with high levels of corruption, as it increases uncertainty and raises the cost of doing business. The lack of transparency and accountability creates an environment where honest businesses struggle to thrive, while those willing to engage in bribery and crony capitalism flourish. Furthermore, corruption fuels the growth of black money, which further weakens the formal economy. This shadow economy operates outside the purview of taxes and regulations, depriving the government of much-needed revenue that could be used for public welfare. Section 4. Skeletons in the Closet. Unveiling India's major corruption scandals. Sadly, India's history is marred by high-profile corruption scandals that hinder the nation's progress and erode public trust. These scandals have shaken the nation, exposing the deep-rooted nature of this problem. They not only cause financial losses, but also highlight a lack of ethics and integrity. These scandals, often involving a nexus of politicians, bureaucrats, and business tycoons, have resulted in the loss of billions of dollars in public funds. These incidents have severely tarnished the government's credibility. One such scandal was the 2G spectrum allocation scam, which came to light in 2010. This case sent shockwaves throughout the country. It involved the alleged allocation of 2G licenses to telecom companies at throwaway prices, resulting in massive gains for a select few. The government reportedly lost an estimated $40 billion in revenue. This scam raised serious questions about the government's policies and procedures. This scandal shook the entire nation, sparking widespread outrage among the public. It fueled public anger and ignited demands for accountability. People took to the streets, demanding justice and transparency. Another major scandal was the Colgate scam, which rocked the nation's political and economic stability. It involved the alleged irregular allocation of coal blocks to private companies without following competitive bidding processes. This exposed large-scale irregularities in the mining sector. This scam, which surfaced in 2012, raised serious questions about the government's functioning. It resulted in an estimated loss of $33 billion to the government. This scam not only dented the country's economic health, but also shattered public trust. Section 5. Crumbling foundations. Institutions held hostage by corruption. Corruption has a devastating impact on institutions, eroding their effectiveness and diminishing public trust. It weakens their ability to function properly and erodes public trust. When institutions responsible for upholding the law, such as the police, judiciary, and bureaucracy, become riddled with corruption, it fosters lawlessness and increases crime. Citizens lose faith in the system when they perceive that justice is for sale and that the rich and powerful are above the law. This erosion of trust can have dire consequences, leading to social unrest and undermining the legitimacy of democratic institutions.